Hello, esteemed gentlemen. In the shadows of the crowd, there is always one who walks alone, not because he's lost, but because he knows a path no one else dares to tread. There's a strange and undeniable energy in the air when a Sigma male enters the room. His presence is not loud, yet it commands attention. He speaks rarely, but when he does, it's with a precision that leaves others scrambling to catch up. He is the one who navigates life on his own terms, indifferent to the rules that bind everyone else. And when people realize that he is the one who stands apart in a world of conformity, their reactions are as fascinating as the man himself. They try to outsmart him, challenge him, even imitate him in the hopes of unlocking the secret to his undeniable magnetism. But in doing so, they only reveal more about themselves, and less about the enigma they so desperately want to unravel. This is the world of the Sigma male, where silent strength and mystery reign, and those who observe him can't help but be drawn into his orbit, even as they struggle to understand it. Number 1. The battle of wits. When people realize the Sigma male is unlike anyone they've encountered, their first instinct is to try and outsmart him. It's not an act of malice, but a challenge. An attempt to assert dominance in a game they believe they understand. They probe him with questions, set intellectual traps, and engage in subtle power plays, thinking that if they can trip him up, they'll regain control. But this is where they falter. The Sigma male doesn't play by their rules. He doesn't react to ego-driven games, nor does he seek validation from outwitting others. While they work hard to construct clever strategies, he remains unaffected, observing their attempts with a detached curiosity. He sees through their schemes not with arrogance, but with a quiet understanding that they're operating on a level he's long transcended. As they continue to engage, they start to feel the pressure. What they thought would be an easy win turns into a struggle. They overextend themselves trying to keep up with his calm, unpredictable mind. And all the while, the Sigma never breaks his pace, never shows signs of being rattled. In their desire to outsmart him, they inadvertently expose their own insecurities, weaknesses, and need for control. The more they push, the more they realize that it's not about outsmarting him. It's about understanding that he moves in ways they never anticipated, making their efforts seem futile before they even begin. At number 2, the whispering shadows. When a Sigma male steps into a space, his presence doesn't go unnoticed, but it's not something most people feel comfortable confronting directly. Instead, they begin to talk about him in hushed voices behind closed doors. These whispered conversations are fueled by a mix of fascination and confusion, as people try to make sense of someone who doesn't fit the mold. There's a mystery surrounding the Sigma that draws people in, but it also unsettles them. They gather in small groups, away from his gaze, speculating about who he is, where he came from, and what drives him. These aren't just casual discussions. There's an intensity to their curiosity. They want to decode him, to find the key that explains why he seems so different from everyone else. Yet no matter how much they talk, the Sigma remains out of reach, like a puzzle with missing pieces. The whispers are not always malicious, but they are born out of a need to understand what they cannot control. People are used to reading others, predicting their behaviors and slotting them into familiar categories. The Sigma doesn't allow that. He's unpredictable, elusive, and that drives them to talk even more. They think that by discussing him endlessly, they'll uncover his secrets. But the more they whisper, the more they realize that the Sigma operates on a wavelength they'll never quite tune into, leaving them with more questions than answers. Number 3, the silent imitators. When people notice the Sigma male, they're often drawn to his mannerisms in ways they can't explain. It starts subtly. They begin to mirror his movements, his calm way of speaking, and even his posture. There's something about the way he carries himself that commands quiet attention. It's not loud or flashy, but there's an understated power in his simplicity, and others subconsciously want to tap into that. They mimic how he navigates the world, his quiet confidence, his unhurried way of doing things, his refusal to be swayed by the chaos around him. They think that by copying his outward demeanor, They can capture some of the mystery and strength he exudes. But what they don't realize is that these actions are only surface level. The Sigma's way of being isn't something that can be learned by imitation. It's an intrinsic part of who he is. It comes from a deep sense of self-awareness and independence, something that can't be faked or replicated. As they adopt his mannerisms, they find themselves frustrated. No matter how much they try to walk like him, speak like him, or project the same calm aura, they fall short. The essence of the Sigma male isn't in the way he acts, but in the reasons behind those actions. What others fail to understand is that his strength comes from within, from a place of knowing exactly who he is and what he stands for, something imitation will never truly capture. At number 4, secret seekers of wisdom. Even though people might never admit it, many secretly seek the Sigma male's guidance. They're drawn to him because he seems to have answers, not in the form of grand speeches or loud proclamations, but in the way he lives his life. There's a quiet wisdom about him, an unspoken understanding of things that others struggle with. He doesn't flaunt his knowledge, and that's what makes people even more curious. They approach him in indirect ways, asking for advice under the guise of casual conversation, or throwing out hypothetical questions, hoping to glean insights without making it obvious they're looking to him for direction. The Sigma male never offers advice directly, but in his brief responses people find clarity. His guidance is subtle, almost cryptic at times, yet it resonates deeply. What makes people seek his insight, even secretly, is his ability to remain calm in situations that would unravel others. They sense that he's been through things and emerged stronger, and they want to understand how he did it. Whether it's navigating relationships, career struggles, or personal challenges, they know he has a perspective they need. Yet, they don't want to admit it because asking for help is an acknowledgement of his superiority in certain aspects. They quietly seek his wisdom, often pretending they've figured things out on their own, but deep down, they know it was his quiet, understated guidance that helped them move forward. And while he never seeks credit, they silently carry his words with them. Number 5, provoking the calm storm. People are often unsettled by the Sigma male's calm demeanor. In a world where most react to pressure with stress or anxiety, he stands apart, unbothered by the noise around him. This calmness can feel like a challenge to others, especially those who thrive on drama or emotional intensity. So they attempt to test him, to provoke some kind of reaction, believing that if they push him hard enough, they can crack his exterior. They create situations meant to rile him up, trying to get under his skin by stirring conflict or making things personal. They might throw harsh words his way, stir up drama, or even try to undermine his credibility. But instead of rising to the bait, the Sigma meets their attempts with the same unwavering composure. His calm isn't forced or defensive, it's genuine, coming from a place of deep self-control and inner peace. This only frustrates those who try to challenge him. The more they push, the more they expose their own lack of control. They become frantic or emotional, hoping to get a rise out of him. But their attempts only highlight the stark contrast between their behavior and his. The Sigma male simply doesn't play by the same emotional rules. His calmness is his shield, and by remaining steady, he shows just how little power others have over him. Eventually, those who challenge him realize that they're the ones who are unraveling while he remains unfazed, standing firm in his own peace. Number 6, the poisoned tongue. When people realize they can't shake or outmaneuver a Sigma male, jealousy often creeps in. Unable to understand him or get the better of him, they resort to spreading rumors. The Sigma's independence, his ability to thrive without validation from others, sparks envy in those who can't figure him out. They start to twist the narrative, making up stories that paint him as cold, arrogant, or detached. These rumors are born out of frustration, a desperate attempt to undermine what they can't control. They whisper that he's aloof because he thinks he's better than everyone else, or that his quiet nature hides some darker secret. The irony is that the very traits they admire, his self-sufficiency, his refusal to conform, are the same traits they twist into something negative. By spreading these stories, they feel a sense of power, as if they're somehow leveling the playing field. But the Sigma male doesn't play into their game. He never defends himself or tries to correct the rumors, because he knows the truth speaks for itself. He's uninterested in proving anything to people who misunderstand him. The rumors, instead of tarnishing his reputation, often have the opposite effect. Those who are curious about him see through the gossip and become even more intrigued by his ability to rise above it. In the end, the rumors fade, while the Sigma's integrity remains intact, standing as a quiet testament to his strength and resilience, leaving those who tried to tear him down only frustrated by their failure. Number 7. The Puppet Master's Alliance. When people feel threatened by the Sigma male's quiet dominance, they often band together in an attempt to dethrone him. Alone, they realize they can't match his confidence or disrupt his path, so they form alliances, hoping that collective effort will succeed where individual attempts have failed. These alliances aren't built on mutual respect, but on shared insecurity. They come together, not because they understand each other, but because they're united by a common goal: to bring down the one who stands apart. They strategize, exchange ideas on how to undermine him, whether through subtle exclusion or outright confrontation. But the Sigma male sees these alliances for what they really are: a reaction born out of fear and envy. He doesn't panic or try to defend his position. In fact, he's not even concerned with the position they think he holds. While they're busy scheming and building coalitions, he's simply living by his own rules, unconcerned with their petty plots. What they don't realize is that the Sigma male thrives in solitude. He doesn't rely on anyone to validate him, so their attempts to isolate or outnumber him have no effect. Instead, their alliance often collapses under its own weight, because it's not based on genuine connection or trust, only a shared weakness. As they scramble to unseat him, they end up exposing their own insecurities and flaws, while the Sigma male continues on, unbothered, showing them just how futile their efforts truly are. Number 8. The impossible competition. People often find themselves trying to compete with the Sigma male, believing that if they can beat him at his own game, they'll prove their worth. They see his quiet success, his calm independence, and think he must be playing by the same rules they are, rules of status, power, and validation. So, they step into what they think is a competition, only to discover that the Sigma isn't even competing. The Sigma male isn't driven by external benchmarks. While others are racing for approval or trying to climb social ladders, he's walking a completely different path, one that isn't defined by anyone else's standards. His goals are internal. He's motivated by personal growth, self-mastery, and the pursuit of a life that aligns with his values, not by beating others at arbitrary games. This makes competing with him a frustrating experience because no matter how hard people try, they're chasing something that the Sigma doesn't even care about. As they push themselves harder, hoping to outdo him, they begin to realize the futility of their efforts. The Sigma's lack of interest in the competition makes their victories feel hollow. They might win in their own minds, but the Sigma male remains unaffected, continuing on his own path, untouched by their need for comparison. In the end, they realize that the rules they live by don't apply to him, and that competing with someone who doesn't need the game to begin with is an unwinnable battle. Number 9. Silent admirers from the shadows. Many people find themselves quietly admiring the Sigma male from a distance, drawn to his enigmatic presence without ever getting too close. His ability to navigate life on his own terms, coupled with his calm and composed demeanor, creates an aura of fascination that's hard to ignore. While they might never approach him or reveal their admiration, they watch his every move, captivated by his unique way of being. This admiration is born from a deep respect for his independence and self-reliance. The Sigma male lives a life that seems untouched by the usual constraints and expectations that bind others. He's not driven by the need for approval or the pursuit of social status. Instead, he follows a personal code, making choices based on what aligns with his values and desires. To those who observe him, this way of living seems both rare and admirable. They see him as a figure of strength and mystery, someone who has mastered the art of self-sufficiency and inner peace. Their admiration is often tinged with a sense of wistfulness as they recognize qualities in him that they wish they could embody themselves. The Sigma male represents an ideal of freedom and authenticity that's both compelling and out of reach. As they follow his journey from afar, they are drawn into a quiet, unspoken admiration that acknowledges his unique place in a world that often prizes conformity over individuality. Number 10. The mystery in romance. The Sigma male's allure often leads people to romanticize his very mystery. His quiet confidence, unassuming nature, and refusal to conform make him an intriguing figure that sparks a deep sense of fascination. To many, he represents an idealized version of what it means to live authentically and independently. They are captivated not just by who he is, but by the enigma surrounding his persona. This romanticization goes beyond mere admiration. It's a projection of their own desires and dreams onto him. They imagine him as a figure of profound depth, someone whose solitude is seen as a mark of profound inner strength rather than isolation. His refusal to seek validation from others makes him appear almost otherworldly, a person who exists outside the ordinary constraints of societal expectations. People often build elaborate fantasies around him, seeing him as a symbol of freedom, self-assuredness, and mystery. They create stories and idealized images of him in their minds, attributing to him qualities that may be more about their own aspirations than his reality. This idealization often leaves them entranced, unable to reconcile the person they've created in their imaginations with the real, often more ordinary individual. In the end, this romanticization of the Sigma male underscores how powerful and elusive his presence is. It reveals a deeper yearning for the qualities he embodies, independence, authenticity, and inner peace, that others see as rare and desirable. While they may never fully understand him, their fascination with the mystery he represents becomes a testament to his unique place in their lives. The Sigma male, with his quiet strength and unique independence, stands apart in a world driven by conformity and external validation. The reactions he elicits from attempts to outsmart him to whispered rumors reveal a profound fascination with his ability to navigate life on his own terms. Whether people seek to mimic his mannerisms, challenge his calm, or romanticize his mystery, their responses underscore a deep-seated admiration for qualities they struggle to understand or attain. In his presence, others confront their own insecurities and limitations, revealing how his mere existence disrupts their expectations and norms. The Sigma male's life isn't defined by the competition or validation that others chase. Instead, it's shaped by a personal journey of authenticity and self-reliance. His ability to remain unaffected by external pressures and to move through life with a serene confidence makes him a compelling figure who captivates from afar. Ultimately, the Sigma male's allure lies in his capacity to remain true to himself in a world that often values conformity over individuality. The intrigue he generates, whether through admiration or jealousy, highlights a universal longing for the freedom and self-mastery he embodies. By continuing on his own path, untouched by the noise around him, he serves as a powerful reminder of the strength found in living authentically and the profound impact it can have on those who witness it. If you enjoyed exploring the world of the Sigma male, hit that subscribe button for more intriguing content. Stay tuned for fresh insights and fun stories. Join the adventure with us.